How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its excellent Essential Pick sale, and there's a lot of great deals, and we're going to highlight some of those deals that are under $10. And if you want to get these deals even cheaper, here's a word from our sponsor, where you can get PSN Credit a little bit cheaper. This video is brought to you by cdkeys.com, where you can get PSN Credit even cheaper. Just go on over to the site, pick whatever amount you want to buy, and you'll get it even cheaper. Check out, and immediately you will get a code that you can then redeem on the PlayStation Store. Redeem your code, and boom, you got your PSN credit, and you can buy any of the games we mentioned in this video even cheaper. You can buy games that just came out, like Stellar Blade upcoming games. System Shock Remake is coming out, Destiny 2 Final Shape, you've got SMT5 Vengeance in the near future, a lot of great titles coming out here in the near future, and you can get them even cheaper by getting your PSN credit over at CD Keys. Check out the links in the description box below. Anything you buy also directly supports this channel and is much appreciated. Now, on to the video. Let's get right into it, and let's kick things off with arguably the best deal in this sale. I feel like I've said that about a couple of deals. There's some really solid deals in this sale. Dying Light, the following Enhanced Edition, is 70% off for $8.99, but if you're a Plus subscriber, you save an additional 10%, and it's down to $5.99. That is insane. I get it. Most of you guys at this point probably own Dying Light. However, if you don't, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't check out the following Enhanced Edition for $6. I really enjoyed Dying Light 2 as well. However, Dying Light 1 is without a doubt the better game. Visually, looks great, even being, yes, almost a decade old. However, to be fair, Techland was updating this game for like 8 years, so you know, a lot of the content and a lot of the updates were more recent. But yeah, Dying Light, really solid open world survival horror zombie game. It's not really the sense of survival horror that it is incredibly atmospheric and psychological. Its atmosphere is fairly good, but you're more so getting into it for the parkour gameplay, the exploration, the combat's fairly good, and I actually think the combat in Dying Light 1 is better than Dying Light 2. But yeah, $5.99 for that, obviously a great pickup. Next up, we got Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th Anniversary Bundle, 75% off for $9.99. For a while, this was going down to $15 or $20. Now, it's settling in at $9.99, and this is a great pickup. Bayonetta, obviously, is very well known. Unfortunately, probably never gonna get Bayonetta 2 or Bayonetta 3 on PlayStation unless things drastically change with Nintendo. But Bayonetta 1 still a damn good game. And then you get Vanquish as well. Vanquish is a game that I constantly go to bat for. I actually played this game closer to when it came out, and the real issue with Vanquish, obviously, if you were around back in the fall of 2010, I think everybody that played the game back then had the same criticism with the game. Incredibly enjoyable game, over-the-top action gameplay, fast-paced, just extremely exhilarating. 4 to 5 hour game for a $60 purchase is always going to be a little bit of a hard sell. And it's not like Vanquish had a crazy amount of replayability. Obviously, that issue kind of subsides when you're paying $9.99 and you're getting Bayonetta on top of it. Great pickup for the Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th Anniversary Bundle. And honestly, these days, I know you guys have a lot of 50-hour RPGs that you're getting into. Hell, Dying Light, the other game we mentioned, is a sizable experience. Sometimes Vanquish, a 4 to 5 hour game, is exactly what you want, and a nice game to beat in a sitting or two. Next up, we got DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, 75% off for $9.99. I remember when this game came out. I believe it was back in 2013. It was quite the controversial release. Look, Devil May Cry is this franchise with an incredible storied history, and they obviously went back to what made DMC with DMC5. DMC Devil May Cry was done by Ninja Theory, same developers of Hellblade and Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Always got to get that shout in there. And if you just assess it as its own standalone action game, it's a pretty enjoyable game. A little bit dated, sure, but an enjoyable game. The Dante redesign isn't great, and, you know, detaching itself from what is Devil May Cry was obviously going to upset people, but at this point, you can just play it as its own action game, and from that standpoint, it's fairly enjoyable. Again, $9.99 I think is a pretty good price for it. Next up, Easy recommendation for the 2 people that don't own it. Batman the Arkham Collection is 90% off for $5.99. Look, this is a tremendous deal for Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. You got a lot of DLC content in there as well. Arkham Asylum, for a game that is 15 years old, still holds up incredibly well. That combat is still so good visually, it looks pretty good, and yeah, just a great game. Arkham City is my favorite of the 3 games, and that game is awesome. And Arkham Knight, you know, I know people were critical about the Batmobile sections, but outside of that, it's a damn good game, and I would say well worth the time to go through it. $5.99 for the Arkham Collection. Again, great pickup there. Next up, we got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, 70% off for $8.99. We'll also throw in the other Assassin's Creed game I want to mention, Assassin's Creed Unity, 70% off for $8.99. AC4, rumblings are that they're going to remake this game, a remake for a game that looks as good as AC4. Yes, it is 11 years old, but it's still a little bit surprising to me. But, you know, we'll see how it turns out. AC4 is fantastic. Naval combat is great. Edward Kenway is one of the more underrated Assassin's Creed characters, in my opinion. Like, people like him, but I really put him at the level of, like, an Ezio. I get it that Ezio got 3 games, so he's probably going to be more of a mainstay to Assassin's Creed fans, but AC4 was great, and I wish they did more with Edward as a character, but alas, we can't have great things. And Assassin's Creed Unity, 70% off for $8.99. Now, I played this game in the fall of 2014 when it came out, and it was a technical disaster. I've been meaning to give this game another playthrough for a couple of years now. I gotta go back and give it another shot in terms of just playing it start to finish again, because the number of people that have just told me, brother, you gotta go back and play through Assassin's Creed Unity. The technical issues aren't there, at least not there as much anymore, and it's a fantastic game. Like, people legit rank Unity as one of their favorite games in the entire franchise. Again, the technical issues were absolutely disastrous at launch, and the PC version was just a nightmare, but you know, with a lot of that resolved, I think a lot of people can go back and play this game as its own experience, and I still need to do that, but I did want to mention it because, again, it's been a sizable amount of people that have been, I'm not gonna say pestering me, just telling me, yo, go back and play through AC Unity, and trust me, that does not fall on deaf ears. It's just there's 8 billion games to play, and Unity is not one that I've gone back to, at least recently, but I do have to, and yeah, a lot of you guys might be wanting to as well. Next up, I'll give a shout to Last of Us Remastered, 50% off for $9.99. Look, a lot of people don't want to spend $40 on Last of Us Part 1, or I believe it might go down to $30. I think it still goes for $40. It's ridiculous how expensive Last of Us Part 1 is. Look, Last of Us 1 is absolutely awesome, but I would not be spending the Part 1 price. I would just get the remastered version for now. $9.99, it's goodbye. You got Left Behind in there as well. Look, Last of Us 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I thought Last of Us Part 2 absolutely butchered the narrative. You guys can think what you want. I know it's a divisive topic, and I'm really curious how people are going to react after Season 2 drops that are only Last of Us television watchers, because I know a lot of people that only watch the TV series, and yeah, I think they're in for a ride with Season 2, but we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, Last of Us Part 1 is a great game. Most of you guys at this point have played it, but this is a game that I go back every now and again and give another playthrough of. The last playthrough I had was on PC, and it was literally right when the PC version came out, and that was one of the worst PC ports of all time, but I still had a great time because guess what? Last of Us 1 is just that damn awesome. Next up, Deep Rock Galactic, 70% off for $8.99. Not my favorite game in the world, but this is a game that the studio has been incredibly consistent with dropping updates, and if you're looking for an engaging co-op experience with a lot of replayability, Deep Rock Galactic is going to offer you exactly that, and you're going to be in for a lot of updates coming out as well, so there's a lot to sink your teeth into. The Deluxe Edition nor the Ultimate Edition are on sale right now, but base game for $9 is pretty good. This was a Plus game not too long ago as well. Plus Essential, that is. Next up, Code Vein, 84% off for $9.59. You guys know me, love me my anime aesthetic. Throwing that into a Souls-like that's not brutally difficult, but still can be pretty challenging. I think Code Vein was a damn good game. Is it going to be revered at the level of the Dark Souls titles or, you know, the FromSoft games? Absolutely not, but I think it targeted its own audience, and for what it is, it's pretty damn good. Not $60 good, but $9.59 good? Oh, you're damn right it is, and for this price point, I think it's a great pickup. Definitely give it a shot. And by the way, there is a trial edition available, so if you do want to just try the game out, that option is open to you. Next up, Bully, 40% off for $8.99. I know people that have been wanting a Bully sequel forever. I just don't think it's ever gonna happen, you guys, but you know, it's an absolutely dated game, but to go back and play through it for $9 I still think is a pretty good time if you just keep your expectations in check from what you expect out of this game from a technical standpoint. I think you'll have a great time with it. A quirky game, a little bit wacky for sure, but my recollection of playing through Bully is pretty positive, and I think you guys will have a good time with it as long as you can go back and play, you know, PS2 level games. Wolf Among Us, 50% off for $7.49. Fantastic, fantastic game. Incredible narrative and incredible main character. I am just counting I'm not counting the days. It's impossible to count the days for Wolf Among Us Season 2, but I'm just holding on to hope that Wolf Among Us Season 2 actually comes to fruition, because at this point, I'm starting to lose a little bit of hope, but hopefully it does come out. Wolf Among Us Season 1, guys, started over a decade ago. It was like 11 years ago, so, you know, long time coming. It's great. If you have yet to check it out, $7.49 is a great pickup. Lastly, some classic Square Enix PS1 games that are available on PS4 and PS5. Final Fantasy VII, 8, and 9. FF7, I still feel like is a worthwhile pickup at $6.39. Remake changed a lot of things, and I think the 7 OG offers a lot to still enjoy. And, you know, if the remake if you really did enjoy it, check it out. I think it's a pretty cool experience to go back and play through 7 while you have played the remake, especially just going through the Midgar section and realizing how effing short that is, and the fact that they made that into its own game, and its own game is great. Like, FF7 Remake was awesome, but the Midgar section in FF7 is so short. You know, it is crazy that they extended that to a 30-hour RPG, but still pretty cool to go back and play through that. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, 60% off for $7.99. FF8, to a lot of people, is the black sheep of the franchise, and to a lot of people, it's the most underrated game in the series. I think the narrative gets a little wild, especially in the second half, but I enjoyed the game for $8, not a bad pickup. Final Fantasy IX is the one that I am not as crazy about as everybody else. A lot of people look at this as their favorite Final Fantasy game. Not really for me. In terms of being at that level, a remake is coming, and I think the Final Fantasy IX remake is going to be more true to the original, and I don't think they're going to segment it into multiple parts. We'll see. That's my 2 cents. If you do want to wait for the remake, see how that turns out, that is a fine option to go with, but $8.39 on that. And lastly, I do want to give a shout to Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, 50% off for $9.99. This wasn't one of those early JRPGs that I got super into. Chrono Trigger, obviously, a little bit before my time on the Super Nintendo. PS1 was my first console, but Chrono Cross wasn't a game that I got super invested into, but, you know, going back and playing it, had a pretty good time with it. Didn't, like, blow me away with this remake, but I still thought it was a pretty enjoyable experience, all things considered. And if you're a fan of JRPGs, you'll have a good time with this for sub $10 at $9.99, a good pickup there. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available as a part of the Essential Pick Sale. Check them out, links in the description box below. That is going to do it for me. Check out CD Keys for your PSN credit a little bit cheaper. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.